What's up, all you Fast and Furious dudes and dudettes? Toyshiz here, and I'm back at again to give you guys another fresh look, this time courtesy of my friends over at McFarlane Toys. They sent over the brand new Bloodshot action figure based on the upcoming Vin Diesel movie, Bloodshot, which is, of course, based on the Valiant Comics character. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't know anything about Bloodshot. Bloodshot was not the character that I was very interested in back in the day. I know who he is, and I did do my research now, but I'll tell you what, I am very interested in seeing the new Vin Diesel movie. You put Vin Diesel in any movie nowadays, I'm going to go see it, because I know things are going to blow up. I know there's going to be guns and bullets, and it's going to be bad frickin' ace. So I am just excited. I love how it says 14 plus, not a toy, right here on the packaging. I would say that's a good call. I mean, Vin Diesel I wouldn't say necessarily for children, except if he's selling Street Sharks, of course, back in the 90s at Toy Fair. Really nice artwork on the box. It's a little bit Blade Runner-ish, you know, just in the graphic images on the box. On the back, not much of anything, just a picture of the figure. Would have been nice to get some bio, something to clue you into the movie. Also, here's the barcode if you want to go ahead and grab him. He is hitting specialty shops, comic shops, GameStop, all that kind of stuff. And I will put a link in the description below if you want to go ahead and grab him off Amazon. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice cup of coffee. This is the brand new McFarlane Toys Bloodshot action figure. Here's old Dominic Toretto out of the packaging, and this is actually a really nice looking action figure. All the times, you know, sometimes you get these movie-based toys that kind of just put them out and, okay, they do it. This looks like Vin Diesel. This looks like Vin Diesel as this Bloodshot character. Of course, the comics, he's got a little bit more hair, yada yada, but when you put old Vin Diesel in there, you gotta be bold and menacing. I really like the black wash on this figure. It's very comic book, very graphic novel-ish, and I appreciate that a lot. Very detailed sculpts all the way around. The weapons are some of the best aspects of this figure, and I'll show you in just a second how he holds them. He's got a good weathering on his jeans. He's got holsters on the belts. It just overall looks good, and it's a nice contrast for his white skin to the dark aspects of this figure. It just looks really good when you see it all together. Even down to his boots. He comes with a stand, much like all McFarlane Toys figures have. It's just a simple stand with a peg. It says Bloodshot on it, but it stand him well. And it's a nice overall package. The guns fit really nicely into the holders. At first I was thinking you might have to worry about some paint chippage or, you know, kind of coming off. I pulled them out several times so far, and I've had no probs whatsoever. So maybe over time something will happen, but so far so good. And they look really nice. And they go all the way down in the holster. That's what's actually really cool. The extra gun that he comes with, it gets a little clunky when he holds it. And yes, it works. Yes, he can hold it with both hands. But in terms of saying, like, get the scope up to his eye or just holding it in one hand, doesn't necessarily look the best. But if you kind of fiddle with it a little bit, you can get some nice poses out of it. And much like, you know, kind of tilting his head, pulling up a little bit. Yeah, it works. But I prefer the other two guns, to be quite honest with you. He has this giant knife. He holds that well. And it just looks menacing. It's this giant super blade with these, you know, the holder's got some spikes on it. It's really cool, and he displays nicely. So I would say the two guns, this knife, I really wish he had a holder for the knife or something like that. That would have been really cool. But I'm glad that at least they gave him holsters for the guns. Sure, I would have preferred to just be able to put all the weapons all over him, like really just soup him up, because the trailer gives off the idea that this guy is just a murdering machine, and when you have that on your shelf, well, that can look really awesome. But let's go ahead and let's look at the articulation on this figure. Now to go over the articulation for this Bloodshot figure, his head will rotate back and forth. He can look up a pretty good amount, actually, and he can look down as well, and he also has swivel at the lower part of his neck. So you do get a nice mobility out of this, and being that he has a bald head, it makes me think that he can look up extra good, doesn't have that hair getting in the way, so that's actually pretty cool. Really nice articulation in the head. He has some good shoulder rotation, and he also has some butterfly joints right there. Unfortunately, they're there, but I wouldn't say they work all too well. He can put his arm up, but this is the basic extent of how you can put the arms down. If you're someone that, you know, really wants straight up and down, you're not going to get it. He will go off to the side. However, I would say it's not really that big of a deal because you're going to have weapons in his hands, which he holds really nicely. So they're going to be doing odd end things and not just be just straight down. So it's not that big a deal. What is kind of weird is that he does have bicep swivel, and it's right where the t-shirt and the arm meet, the white part of his arm, and you can see that it just kind of looks odd. It's an odd bicep swivel because the t-shirt cuts it off and you get the 2 extra bits on either side. So yeah, not the best right there. Double jointed elbows, and they work really, really nicely. He does have ball joint rotation at the wrist, just like all the multiverse figures, and the wrist will rotate as well, up, down, left, right. Just be careful. Mine is just a little bit stuck right there. He has a diaphragm joint. He goes every which way, side to side. He will swivel at the waist as well. That's pretty good. He gets a good mobility. This is not too shabby. I like the amount of articulation so far. He will kick out about that much. He doesn't really kick back at all just because the flap of his butt will keep it going, but like I said, kicking back, never really that big a deal. He kicks off to the side. He does have double jointed knees, as you can see, and he does have some rotation in the foot. It doesn't really go side to side, but it will go back and forth. He also does have some toe articulation as well, nothing at the thigh. So overall, I would say with the one thing being the weird bicep, not that big a deal. The arm's not really going down all too much. Yeah, it's going to be up to you. But he really is a nice articulated figure, and I really like that he has at least some weapon storage to him. And Vin Diesel, of course, hits the 7-inch mark perfectly. He's right there, and here he is lined up with a few of the other figures, McFarlane and some other brands. He does match up really nicely with the new DC Multiverse Batman number 1000 figure. Oddly enough, I guess these two have never met in the comics, but that would actually make for a good matchup on your shelf. I kind of like that. Batman versus Vin Diesel. And this is how I have fun with my figures. You know, this guy, it's Vin Diesel, but he's playing this Bloodshot figure. If you got a Ghostrider motorcycle from Marvel Legends, you can fit him on that. Blowing away an enemy, gun in one hand, driving with the other. Just don't make Ghostrider jealous, of course. This is a fun figure. This is not going to be for everyone, but if you can put him with the other action heroes on your shelf, it just, like, think of him next to the Terminator. I mean, this is a fun figure. I just wish I had some Street Sharks to go ahead and put him up against. That would have been ideal. So to close up this fresh look, I would say the articulation is maybe a little bit wonky for those that really are heavily into the articulation itself, but I would say the weapons look great. The paint looks great. It looks like Vin Diesel. So I would definitely recommend this figure. And for being that the movie's coming out soon, and I hope it's good, I would say this figure would be a lot of fun to have. But I am curious to know what you guys think about this figure. Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything Bloodshot. I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food. But most importantly, remember that even though Fast and the Furious 9 still continues to this day, I would say Bloodshot, you know, that you could fold that into that universe somehow. Maybe Dom Toretto, he just had a few upgrades. Something like that. You know where the Fast and the Furious franchise is going. Come on. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.